You don't know what you're going to miss till it's already long gone. Korvoth poked at the burning coals of the fire as the bugs continued to roast in their thin, stick-like shells. They weren't tasty, but they were food, and it felt pretty damn good to get vengeance from these bitey little bastards. He'd spent a few rough days exploring the desolate ruins littering the landscape. The ancient keep in the distance, looming upon the horizon. He pulled one off of the burning coals, ripping into the morsel of food as if it were a feast.
Are you done yet?
I'm done. What do you want? Korvoth had had way too much of Soth and his constant needy verbal prodding.
I'm just checking in, seeing how you're doing and all of that.
Go away. I want to eat my breakfast in peace. One thing Korvoth never thought he'd miss. How Lothran always seemed to know when to talk, and when to stay silent, and just let the moments drift by. Soth had no such lingual fortitude.
You don't have to be mean. That's more my job anyway.
And he's a dick. Plain and simple. Korvoth grimaced, setting up his meal and retreating to the raised bed of sticks he'd built last night. There he ate his small meal, relishing each crunchy shell for how it would mean one less little critter to harass him if he ever had to sleep on the bare ground again. He'd spent much of yesterday keeping the fire going and shoring up the holes in this old earthen hut. This place had once been a village of some sort. Now it was just a ruined wreck, long since stripped of anything of real value. This was, the 7th or 8th day? Hard to keep track since that storm and those days of horrendous rolling and boiling and bashing. It made him nothing but miserable the entire time it hung upon him.
And might I inquire, what are your plans for the day, Korvoth?
If it will make you go away, I'll practice making some stone tools, and then gather more firewood, maybe forage for some food, and keep watch for those horrible golems. And then silence. You keep your part of that plan, and the rest will go smoothly, I'm very sure. He'd been attacked by 2 more of those horrid monsters, died once more, dragged back to the dungeon by some unseen force. The tattered remains of the 3rd golem lay nearby, off to one side.
That doesn't sound like a very interesting day. You sure you don't want me to point out any more interesting locales for you to investigate?
That second death, yeah. It had been listening to Soth's advice where to set up a home. I'm fine. Scurry back to whatever hole it is you crawl out of to bother me from. And then back to the sounds of the bitter damp winds of the wilds. Finally, less Soth in your life is a very good thing. Korvoth finished his meal and went back to inspecting the canvas-like cloth of the golem he'd slain. He'd kept as much as he could carry, even the sand, most of which he'd used to line the base of his campfire. The creatures had an internal structure, thin bones of some unheatable metal, at least not with the temperatures Korvoth had access to. In their chests lay a box that kept them functioning. He'd stabbed it on his 2nd encounter and ruptured it on his 3rd, causing the box to short and explode, ending the foe where it stood. The cloth had something familiar sewn into it, the seams traced back toward a central point. Intrigued, Korvoth investigated. slowly slicing the durable cloth with a sharp stone. Ooh, this is interesting. It was scorched, stabilized thread. Not the string kind of thread, the hive kind of thread. Meaning if he could find a way to process and work with it, Korvoth could do any number of kick-ass things. For the meantime, though, it would make excellent cordage. He'd had to make do with vines and thick, weedy grass to help construct his bed. This, however, would be much better to the task. With the thread, he could make better equipment. A shirt and decent pants. A backpack to help carry gear. Maybe a belt and all sorts of other things. Not to mention all the tools he might fashion with the hive thread as a proper binding. Things were beginning to look up. Then his stomach grumbled angrily, reminding him of a very important fact. There was work to be done, and he was the only one that could accomplish it.